On the drive, goes inside the top. Scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NBA Hardwood show here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. Thursday, January 15th, here with the great Rubio Dimes, breaking down this 5-game NBA slate. Rubio, how you doing over there? Thanks for filling in for me yesterday, by the way.
No problem. We had the most amount of lineups I've had all season inside the top 100. I didn't have the cutting edge, but when you reacted to the Nurkic news, you had a good day. I mean, it was hard not to have a good day when you had a 30% goose egg that a lot of people didn't react to. It was added into the Run Pure Discord. We made sure that, hopefully you didn't have Nurkic, and Filipowski ended up being a great play because no one else could play the big man minutes, right? So, it ended up being a great day. I had a lineup with Jordan Miller and Brook Lopez late that I was so excited for. It had a huge ROI. And then Niederhauser went for 20. And somehow Niederhauser was 8% or something like that. I'm sitting there thinking, that was a sharp play. I mean, he ended up nuking. At halftime, I'm like, man, I might have a shot. And I saw a guy with the exact same Miller-Lopez combo, except he had Niederhauser 1 point behind me. I'm like, well, we're not going to get first today. So, we still profited, though. We're enjoying some golf too. The first day back of the PGA Tour, lots of content up. Yeah, it's good stuff. A lot. NFL. I love the playoffs. The playoff games this past week were great too. But we got a lot of sports to continue to watch.
Yeah, 100% good NFL playoffs. I'm glad golf is back. I missed it today, but I'll be in the Showdown round 2 streets tomorrow. Checking out a little Showdown golf. Should have some fun with that. UFC, you're not a huge UFC guy, are you, Rubio? But that's coming back soon. Things are
it's fun to watch. I don't do the pay-per-view, but the ESPN Plus nights, that's when I kind of lock in. Because I don't have a reason to pay for it, but when I'm sitting there,
you can find just get in the Discord. We'll leave it at that.
Funny story. TikTok. Whenever I scroll through on a Saturday night of a pay-per-view, I stroll probably 3 or 4 streams illegally. You can't ban TikTok. I mean, we've already tried.
Yeah. There are certainly ways to watch it, but we will get into the NBA streets here. We got 5 games to talk about, hour and a half window on the start times, just one going at 7 p.m. Eastern time here, just one on the early lock. Phoenix and Detroit. I'm just pulling up my sources here. Yeah, Detroit favored by 7.5 here, 219 total. So a low total, Rubio. I do think you'll see, some ownership. I'm pulling up the Sabre. Yeah. So the Suns are going to be popular here, right? Without Devin Booker, obviously the usage gets spread around. Gillespie, Brooks, Goodwin, right? Grayson Allen even. And I think these guys do have upside, but I'm a little worried about the Suns' ability to compete here, given the matchup against Detroit. It's a good defensive team. They're on the road. Curious your thoughts on the Suns in this first game, and obviously talk about the Detroit side as well.
And not having Devin Booker, right, obviously changed a lot of things. Devin Booker's been underprojected 5 or 6 straight games too. So I'm kind of disappointed I can't continue to bash him in. But it creates a situation of who's going to step up, who's going to get these minutes, and luckily we've already had a huge sample of the Suns without Devin Booker, right? So we know exactly what to expect. Gillespie, obviously sees a pretty big uptick at 6,100. Dylan Brooks, his shot rate still is going to be, insanely high. And there's just not a whole lot of guys who can create their own shot. Jordan Goodwin, where he's always irrationally popular. He coming off the bench, he's still going to be 30% owned or something like that. And all those guys have been great, but the guy that I'm kind of keying in on a lot here is just going to be Grayson Allen. This team did compete without Devin Booker plenty. It just becomes a case in point, like you said, though. In Detroit is a pretty tough game. Can they keep it close? Detroit doesn't have a ton of options either. Duran's minutes, staggering in those high 20s most of the time. Cunningham is a little bit pricey at 10.7. So unless you're going to like Oscar Thompson, who I'm okay with on a game-to-game basis, despite a poor projection, you're not going to find a lot of great run backs, right? So if you're going to be fading them, like, you're kind of going to be a little bit different, right? But again, you're playing for the blowout in that sense, where Ryan Dunn at 3,100 is going to be one of the better value plays, right? I think if I had to rank the Suns, though, I think Gillespie would be my 1, Allen my 2, and then I would tier it down a second tier, and I'd go Brooks, Dunn, and Mark Williams. And the reason why I'm kind of slightly lower on Dunn right now is when you look at the slate overall, I don't feel the exact need to go down to a 3,100 small forward who, can be hit or miss at times. And it's not like there's a slam dunk stud, right? It's not like you're going to be just really excited to play Giannis Antetokounmpo at 11K, right? Or Wembanyama on this minutes restriction at 9,600. Like or Cade Cunningham, right? Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jaylen Brown might be my 2 favorite studs, but again, you're not going to get excited to play them. So that's why I kind of tiered Dunn and Brooks down from Gillespie and Allen. And then I kind of think, you flip it over to the other side, and Jordan Goodwin, I guess, would belong in that tier too. Maybe in that top.
Booyah is out too for the Suns. So another guard off the bench. When you look at the individual matchups here, Rubio, so I think Cade will stick on Gillespie, which I really don't like that matchup at all for Gillespie, frankly. And then Oscar Thompson's going to be on Dylan Brooks, right? Like if you watch Brooks, a lot of his scoring is kind of bully ball, right? He kind of just straight charge at the hoop. That's a tough player to do it against, I think. And Oscar Thompson is a really good defender. But the matchup I do like is Grayson Allen, and I think it'll be Duncan Robinson on him. And that's the one I think they can find room to shoot the three. So
yeah, 5,200. We've already seen 50 balls from Grayson Allen this year. Like without Devin Booker, especially, I just think he's going to be in line for a sneaky spot too. Like Saber's going to have him at under 20% or whatever, and there's a decent chance that he leads the Suns in usage tonight, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it'll be Duncan Robinson to open on him, which Grayson Allen should be able to get a shot off there. And then, LeVert and Ivy would be the other 2 guards coming in to guard Allen. I think Allen matches up well there. I'm a little worried, though, Rubio, like I said, about if Brooks can't score on Thompson and Cade's kind of getting his way with Gillespie, it could get pretty ugly for the Suns in a hurry. So if you're playing blowout script, I kind of like keeping Dunn in there, right? If you're fading the other Suns, I think that makes some sense. And then I like Goodwin too. I think Goodwin's going to come off the bench and shoot a lot. He's pretty aggressive shooting from 3. So those are the 2 I like. Where do you rank Cade among your studs tonight?
I think I would tier him down all the way to like 4 or 5. I think Shai is going to be my favorite stud. Yeah, I like playing Shai in close games. So that's the big thing for me. If he's going to be at 10-5, and then I would think, despite Giannis burning literally everyone last game, I think I'd go back to him at 11K, Jaylen Brown, number 3, and then it would be Cade, and then Sengun. So yeah, Cade would probably be my 4th or 5th favorite stud, where, again, it's not very crowded, especially with Laurie and Booker out in the high 8s, the 9Ks and stuff. No Anthony Davis. So you run out of studs quickly.
Yeah, you do. Brooks should open on Cade, I would imagine. This feels like a Brooks foul trouble and ejection game to me. Like trying to drive, not having any success. Cade trying to guard Cade defensively. I'm worried about the Suns here, but probably enough with that game for now. We can revisit later if we get any news. Although nothing really we're waiting on, right? Not really with the Suns. What about Mark Williams? He's, I think, projected pretty high.
Kind of out. Like they just still got so many bigs. Like I don't think Devin Booker being out impacts them at all. It can impact him maybe just slight uptick, but at the same time, you still got Oso there, where Oso's been playing some good ball.
I like the Suns' backup man. Dunn, Goodwin, and Oso, the cheap guys. Give me the cheap guys in this game while everybody goes for the expensive starters. Well, not expensive, but a little bit more expensive than the cheap guys. I kind of like that route for the Suns in a potential blowout script. Let's go to
Oso, too, just 20 minutes. You look at the start of January, 20, 24, 27, 17, 23, 20, and 16. Like the minutes are just so high. And that's
he's a pretty good player, I think. I like
and Mark Williams, that's where it impacts him a lot, right? Like you're just not going to get maximum minutes out of Mark Williams on any given night. So it just ends up being a little bit of an underwhelming play.
Yeah. Agree with you. Let's go to OKC and Houston next. Another low total in this one, sitting at 222. OKC favored by 5. OKC will be without Hardenstein. He's been out a few games. Houston, no Eason or Dorian Finney-Smith, and then Lou Dort, questionable. It's like really the only news we're waiting on for this one. Doesn't look like a huge news slate outside of, I guess, Dallas. But, yeah, these early games, looks like we mostly know who's going to be in there. There should be a good one to watch, Rubio. OKC and Houston, two of the better teams in the league. But, man, DFS-wise, I don't think it looks that great. Curious your thoughts here, OKC and Houston.
First game of the year, is that what it was? Double OT, right? We saw an banger of a game between those two, and you think about that, and I hope more of the same because I love this game, and not a whole lot of projections pop, right? Like, I think that's the number one thing that you can kind of make the case for is no one's going to play this OKC Houston game because no one projects well. Well, in Houston, they got a giant chip on their shoulder. I love playing OKC when the games are close too. And I feel like OKC on any given night has been a team that has been under-projected. And I've always been overweight on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on any given night, right? Just because I always feel like in OKC's defense, right, they blow out a lot of teams, but they're baking in a blowout half the time. And when his minutes are 33 projected, right, and I still think he can be into the mid-36 or high 30s for the most part in a close game and a high – what would you say? That's like a high, degree matchup, right? This is like prime time. This is definitely what we want.
I like your points. I think you make good points here.
And at 10-5 here, sign me up for Shai. I just think at no ownership too. He's going to be one of my favorite guys. 10%. Jalen's wrist still bothering him, so I'm not really high on him. Chet had a pretty big first game, if I remember correctly, or at least the first half against them too in that first game, and then. You run it back with Sengun. I think this is where the studs can shine. Sengun dominates OKC a little bit, and now you kind of have to figure it out too. With OKC, they're a little bit thin in the front court, right? No Hartenstein. You still got a little bit of a mess with Chet playing against bigger bodies. Where let's be real. I mean, there's a reason why Caruso was guarding Jokic and stuff because Chet's a little bit frail against post players. He's a great rim protector. Sengun, he can bully him. He can bully him down low. We've seen that. And yeah, I mean, just get me excited on Sengun especially, but Shai being one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. And I want to say that, how many times have these teams faced off this year? Is this just their second matchup? Yeah, this is just their second matchup of the year. You don't want to rely on that first game a ton, right? But at the same time, that was a game where Sengun went off for 39 points and 11 rebounds and 7 assists. So, yeah, I think stud-wise, this is a game to watch for me. Sengun and Shai being my two faves, DC.
I like that call. Play the two studs, right? Hope for the close game, and they kind of get there. If you get the 38 minutes from Shai and Sengun, they're going to have good games, right? There's just no question about it. So I do like that call. Talking me back on to the studs, at least in OKC, Houston. Any role players you like here? I think I'm with you that this is a game to play the two studs. Does kind of feel like a Alex Caruso game to me though, where it does
feel like that. Yes,
I think big game. Yeah,
especially if Lou Dort were to continue to miss, right? Like if Lou Dort. Yeah. Happens to be you hate to say Lou Dort is critical news on any given slate, right? The Lou Dort news gets me excited, but it really does.
Caruso's the one guy it really does affect, though.
Yes, and even Case Wallace at 3,900, right? Those two guys could be in line for 30+ minutes, and we obviously like Caruso a little bit more, but Kaysen has shown a great shot too, and again, we saw it in that first matchup. Case Wallace nuked, right? He had 42 minutes too, again, a lot more healthy than they were to start the season. Jalen Williams being back and stuff, but you're still seeing last game with Case and Wallace, 23 minutes with Lou Dort out, 26-31. It's just about trying to find those minutes, right?
OKC is going to try to win this game, right? They'll play if Wallace and Caruso are playing well, they'll get more minutes. Those wing minutes for OKC are very much in swing on a night-to-night basis, especially in an important game. So
I'm taking Houston money line. I'm taking Houston money line. DC. I think this OKC team is a little bit out of whack.
you hate OKC.
Well, look, they were down like double digits against the Jazz, came back and won. They won by 1 against the Grizzlies. This is after dropping games to the Suns and Hornets. Like, they're a little bit messy right now, and I think Jalen Williams and his wrist is causing like a little bit of like, oh man, we're not the same yet, right? They can be the same by April. Everything will be all right. But right now, Houston's also a team that is trying to find their identity. I think Ime is going to take this one super serious tonight.
I like it. I like the goal. I feel like you do bet against OKC like pretty much every day though.
I hate them. I hate that trash ass team. Oh my god! Any given night, give me the other team against OKC. Any given night.
No bias from Rubio on this one.
Definitely not. Right.
Anything else from this game, Rubio?
Nah. I mean, like you said, the Dort news, so we can be on Caruso and Wallace, but SGA, Sengun, and then. You can tear off KD, but KD's too expensive right now with Sengun back, where it's just a little bit mediocre. Yeah. Caleb Williams is far worse. At least OKC has that right. Caleb Williams can play trash, and everyone loves him. Everyone's got a glaze Caleb Williams. Get out of here, P. Lally. Oh, my God. I was so mad when LaFleur blew a second game in a row. I'm furious at how the Packers handled that late game.
You're still on the Caleb Williams hating train?
He's horrible. Horrible. Like, give him Tyson Bagent would have won that game in 3.
How can you have watched this NFL season and come to that conclusion? The dude has had so many comebacks, so many incredible plays. Like, dude,
you know how many drives he's literally he threw for 0 yards on 2 game-winning drives. DC, come on now, that's a fraudulent game-winning drives right there.
Dude is gonna win a lot of football games. Caleb Williams, I'm back on board the Caleb Williams train.
If Caleb goes to the Super Bowl, I'm not even. I won't even play it. I'm going to be betting so hard against the Bears in that Super Bowl. I don't even care who it is.
You taking the Rams over the Bears?
Yeah.
McVay
he scared me against Carolina. That's 2 games. They've been in some games where they should have buried them easily, and all of a sudden they just let teams hang around and stuff. But I think that Bears defense gets shredded for 30 plus.
Even in -5 and 20-mile-per-hour winds?
They're bets. Matthew Stafford will get the job done.
Old man Stafford I don't know how good his finger is going to be feeling on what is it? That's Sunday night, right? The last game, I think.
Yeah, 6:30. Yeah.
As cold as possible. That's going to be awesome.
Sounds like you're on the Bears. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm on the Bears. I'm on the Caleb train. Let's go Boston and Miami next. Middle game of this 5-game slate, 234 total. So 12, 13 points higher than the other 2 previous ones we've talked about. Miami missing some guys, Davion Mitchell and Jaime Jaquez out for this one. I think they've got pretty much everybody else. And then the Boston side looks pretty healthy, which always kind of makes them a little bit tougher plays. I was kind of on the Jaylen Brown train, Rubio, but you might have me on the Sengun SGA train instead, because like you said, there's not that many to spend on. I do think Jaylen Brown, a decent one at 9,900. But I think the Heat side is more interesting with the guys that they're missing. So, yeah, Rubio, talk to us, Boston and Miami here.
Yeah, it's a pace-up spot for Boston. And, Hero's minutes are back. So that's the number one thing I kind of want to address, right? Tyler Hero on any given night at under 7K, you're going to have to sign me up, right? 39 minutes last game, DC. So you're going to have to look at that and be like, oh, man, how do you not click him? If he's going to be playing 39 minutes, man, is he going to be one of the best plays on the slate? And I still think he's underprojected a decent bit, and who else is going to create for them, right? Like, that's the thing that I just kind of keep coming back to, where he might have, just handled the ball the entire game. 18 shots, led the team last game. You had Jaime Jaquez, who played 31 minutes off the bench. They're a deep team. Like, Spo loves playing lots of guys, but at the same time, DC, it's like they're going to be forced to play Hero a decent bit here tonight. And I think the 33-minute projection that Saberson has right now is actually not doing it any justice. I think that he's going to be I think he's going to be one of the best plays in the slate. I think his projection could be closer to 40. But we laugh at that. You don't like that Hero call?
No, the hero call's fine. I like the hero call. The minutes and then not doing it any justice.
I love looking at the minutes, right? But then again, we also got Jovic in the mix too. If Jaime Jaquez, with him being out, like maybe it has just a massive impact where Wiggins also becomes a factor. 31 minutes for Jaquez last game. We're missing 31 minutes from there. And, Jovic is probably going to be the guy, but how much do they rely on Wiggins, Bam, Powell, Hero? I think it's going to be a ton. And, I think those two, Hero and Adebayo, are going to be my two favorites. And then Jovic and Wiggins will kind of be in that second tier along with Powell. Yep. Larson, though, do you think Larson, potentially gets more minutes off that bench too at 4K? He's been a hit or miss. Him and Fontecchio. You could just randomly see Fontecchio hit 5 threes tonight at 3K. That would frustrate me more than anything. But I just know anytime I lock in on some of these Heat studs, some random guy off the bench kind of pops off. And Fontecchio, who starts and then loses his starting spot, and then after the game he loses his starting spot, goes off. Like I've had a hard time with the Heat this year.
It is the worst. I had a nice night last night with a full Raptor stack.
Yes.
Except, of course, I didn't have Grady Dick, who stole like all the.
He dicked
it. Yeah, Fontecchio could be tonight's Grady Dick, I think is what you're saying. But I like this Heat team, man. Also, Rudy, I think this Heat team makes for a good stack, right? I think if the starters play, like if what'd you say? You think Hero could get what, upper 30s in minutes in the close game?
39 last game. I think 36 would be a great projection. He's at 33 on Saber right now.
Let's just say that Hero gets all those minutes. Don't you think Powell and Wiggins are pretty likely to get heavy minutes? Like, they're going to need those guys to score too, right? Even Jovic, I think, is interesting. And then Bam. I mean, he's down to 7K. Good matchup, right? I think you could argue he's got the best matchup against the Miami interior. I think this Miami team. Would you rank them here? You said Hero and Bam up top but like Powell and Wiggins have had a nice price decrease as well. I think those guys are pretty interesting.
Yeah, the thing with Powell is just like, will he get it done in any other way than scoring? And now that Hero's back, like how much upside can he have on a game-to-game basis if, he's just relying on scoring, right? We did see it in the NBA Cup game against the Magic is what it was, where he kind of went off, and it becomes a little bit frustrating for me because, again, a guy I haven't gotten right in a long time. But, if he's going to be able to play, how many minutes was it last game? We saw 32 from him.
He's got upside, man. He'll start firing some games.
Without Jaquez, I mean, you gotta like him. Yeah, I mean, like Jaquez being out is such a big deal. Where Larson even played 27 minutes with Jaquez in. So is it going to be Fontecchio, or could they go to Jack Jonas a little bit? I don't know, but like these minutes could definitely be concise amongst all the starters, and that was with Davion Mitchell in last game too. Like Jovic, I think the Heat, it's not exactly a sneaky spot, but. You're going to have to like him. I think I would like him more than the Phoenix guys, honestly, straight up. Like, I would like any of these Heat guys straight up over Gillespie and Brooks, for example. But Goodwin, I could see more of a case for it because Goodwin can also get a little bit of blowout run. You flip it over to the Celtics. Like,
I'm with you. I like the Miami starters. Wiggins, Powell, Hero better than Gillespie, Allen, and Brooks. Who
starts for Davion tonight? Who do you think? Larson?
I think it'll be Hero, Powell. Yeah, it's just the one spot, right?
Just the one spot. I think it'll be Larson.
Yeah, me too. Who's a pretty good play, I think, at 4K. He's not a bad player.
That's where it comes into where you probably want Goodwin straight up, but Larson's not a bad play. And, it also depends on, like, positional eligibility. Like, right, having Larson, having shooting guard and small forward eligibility goes a long way. When Goodwin – he could be point guard only for all I know right now. He is, Goodwin is point guard, shooting guard. So you get the small forward eligibility with Larson if you need it.
Yeah. And Jovic, I think what I like about him is the upside, right? He does have big games where he gets in there and just like makes an immediate impact. You can kind of see it. And then he has games where he's turning the ball over, playing like an idiot, and gets benched. So I think like Goodwin and Larson are way safer. But if I had to pick which guy is going to get you 35 plus most often, that would be Jovic for me. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Also the ability for him. I had a tweet stick in my head and it was Khalil
You
Ware.
didn't send it, Rubio? You didn't send the tweet?
Oh no, I thought it was hilarious. I want to get your take on it. It was Khalil Ware is Gen Z Christian Wood, and I started dying. And it makes a ton of
Gen
sense.
Z Christian Wood?
Khalil Ware is Gen Z Christian Wood. It makes so much sense, man.
I don't know if your tweet would have done numbers, Rubio. I
know. I saw it. It did numbers. I didn't make that tweet. I
okay.
saw it. It was doing numbers too. I saw it and it stuck with me. I was like, man, it's kind of right.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he's a better player than Christian Wood, though.
Field sleep on Ware. That was even before I said that. That's funny. Ware could be in line for that. I just don't think their best lineup has Ware and Bam out there.
Agreed. Yeah. I'm probably not playing Ware at 5,400. I'd rather find the 1,600 for Bam, or really, he'd be like 7th Heat I would play.
He's within arm's reach of those guys, right? Like that's the problem. And I think for the Celtics too, we got to talk a little bit about them, but Jaylen Brown in a pace-up spot like this, again, I'm not really that excited by too many studs, where if you just get the raw score of 50-plus points at a forward position, I think Jaylen Brown's that guy. And again, like Derek White and Pritchard, I never really get excited about with Brown in, but Keita and Hauser are okay pieces, but you're going to prefer the Heat guys over Keita and Hauser. So Brown would be my main interest on the Celtics, and then it's kind of just secondary guys outside of that.
I think Brown's the best play on the Celtics too. I 100% agree with you. Probably not going to go to too many other Celtics, but both of us pretty high on the Miami Heat. Let's go to the next game here, Milwaukee and San Antonio. What do we got in this one? 224 total. Spurs favored by 7.5. Kuzma questionable. Looks like Giannis and Wemby should both be in there, and then Devin Vassell remains out for the Spurs. Kind of a tough spot here for Milwaukee, right? Got blown out yesterday going on the road to face a very, very good Spurs team. I kind of view this one a little bit like that Phoenix and Detroit game. These are the two games that I'm by far the most worried about being blowouts. Obviously, you can't base everything around that, but these are the two that I find myself fading the most. Rubio, your thoughts here, Bucks and Spurs.
How does Doc Rivers still have a job? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Kevin Porter Jr., max minutes, 38 minutes again, on Sunday against the Nuggets. Fills up the sheet, but man, he just struggles to score the ball lately. You're completely inefficient, but you don't care about efficiency in fantasy. So he's probably my favorite play along with Giannis. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're tier 1 guys, but they're probably in that second tier. And then I'm not getting excited about Rollins. Just KPJ and Giannis take up so much of the usage that Rollins has to get his production done with those guys off the court. And it's not that often, right? So he's like really third fiddle basically, and you're paying $6,600. Not my cup of tea. Has there been a bigger fantasy bust than a free agency bust than Miles Turner in a long time? Because that was one of the most panic buys. When he left the Pacers, you were kind of like, damn, like the Pacers gave him the money that he wanted. He still left. But at the same time, as a Pacers fan, I was like, that's not the worst thing in the world at all. Like, you're not locked into a guy who is a pretty good big man, but you're not going to compete this year for the Pacers. You're getting 1 year away from his prime, and he doesn't mesh well with that team. And I think Giannis looks at that and says, get me the hell out of here. And they're going to try and panic buy for Anthony Davis, but who's going to take on the Miles Turner contract? Like, it's just a mess. I mean, that Milwaukee team is probably the most mismanaged team. They stumbled into the chip the year after COVID, respect, but things are going to go south really quickly there. Portis, again, 16, 17 minutes on Sunday against the Nuggets with Miles Turner in. Even if Kuzma's out, it doesn't seem like Doc is thrilled to play both those guys at the same time. They even went small ball, Giannis at the 5-2, which could be their best lineup. Just surround Giannis with Trent, Harris, and AJ Green and whoever, and Kevin Porter Jr., and then try and space out the floor. But yeah, I mean, against Wemby, I think this is just a nightmare matchup. I mean, I'm all over the Spurs to win this game tonight. If Giannis doesn't have a big game, the Bucks are drawing dead. And KPJ and Giannis are my only interest in the Bucks. And then you flip it over, Our guy Harper's been struggling lately, man. He's hit a little bit of that rookie rough patch. But at the same time, like, a lot of people are comparing stats, right? Like VJ Edgecombe and Con Knuffle. It's like, one, Dylan Harper is young, right? Like he doesn't turn 20 until the next 3 months or whatever. But at the same time, like he's playing behind Fox and Castle. He doesn't need to thrive right away. He doesn't need to be thrown into the fire. But 4,300 is getting cheap, right? I can be slightly talked into some Dylan Harper. Castle, I always prefer Castle straight up over Fox, but Fox does have the minutes edge. Wemby's minutes, it's frustrating because like you kind of want to click Wemby, but at the same time you can't really do so because 28 minutes, is that enough to dominate? The answer is probably yes, but we haven't seen it. Like we haven't seen it since the NBA Cup game, right? That was against the
But I mean, it's enough minutes obviously to put up 45 or 50, but it's really hard to go much beyond that in 28 minutes. And that's like the expectation at 9,600, right? And then the floor
too. Yeah, would you rather have Sengun or Wemby straight up? That is a question because it's a little closer than maybe I was anticipating.
And it should be like $1,000 cheaper, and then it'd be a lot more interesting. But it's hard at 9,600 to click him.
Who would you rather have straight up, though, Sengun or Wemby tonight? Because Wemby outprojects him by 3, and he's only 400 more, and he's going to be higher owned than Sengun too.
You talked me into Sengun. I'm on the. Sengun.
I'm on Sengun too. I was just like. Maybe my like immediate dismissal of Wemby, but 9,600, I guess that's pretty low. We're getting to the point now where he's clickable, right? Like he's got to get you 52 or 53 though. You're not going to get the job done with, well, maybe you could with 50 piece, but you're going to want some high upside. But this could be the slate for him. Like there's not a ton of studs. Yeah. I guess I'm talking myself into him. If Wemby were to get 28 minutes tonight, I think I could talk myself into it a little bit more. I still prefer Sengun though.
I jumped on the train and you backed out. You didn't. No,
I'm on Sengun all day. But I'm trying to make the case for the MME, right? Like maybe Wemby's not a bad play at all. But it's Castle, it's Fox, a tier down, then it's Wemby, Harper, and I'm a sucker for Keldon Johnson because he shipped for me earlier in the year. But just a microwave. That's all you can ask for is a guy to get you 20 fantasy points in 8 minutes, and then you're sitting pretty the rest of the night.
Yes, absolutely. We're about to talk about the last game. We can answer this question after that. I have one guy that I think is clearly the best $5,100 player, and he's in this last game. So we'll talk about him in a second. On board with the master class for Sengun, me and Rubio riding with that one for sure. But let's talk about the last game. We'll answer any questions, do anti-play and favorite play of the night. Anti-play is my favorite part of it. You can just talk trash about some player, and usually they come back and own you. It's great.
Very sensible. I didn't talk too much trash on the premium show last night.
You've been talking trash about a lot of players throughout the course of the show, but save it for anti-play of the day. We'll get your best rant about your least favorite player tonight. First, though, let's talk about Utah and Dallas. I think this is the game that I want the most exposure to. 237 total. Dallas favored by 3.5. Cooper Flag left. Was it last night? I think it was last night. Early.
Yeah, got hurt. I had him in my main team that would have cashed easily, too. I was so pissed.
We'll pour one out for you, Rubio. We know you.
I'll pour one out.
So well for you in the DFS streets. But yeah, Flag, doubtful. I'd be very surprised if he played. Max Christie, I see also doubtful. Is that what you're saying? Doubtful on both those guys?
Yeah, I don't think they go with Christie tonight either because Christie missed last game too. I think Christie misses out. I think Gafford misses out too, personally.
Yeah, so leaves them pretty short-handed. It'll be Brandon Williams, Nemhard, Russell, and then Jaden Hardy too, right? So they do have 4 guys, but I think this is a Brandon Williams game. Curious your thoughts on him. I think he's the best of the bunch, and I think he'll carry the offensive load for the most part tonight. So I love Brandon Williams, partly Rubio, because point guards against the Jazz, point guards like young point guards that can match Keontae George's speed. It's a gold mine, man. I've had a lot of success playing Keontae and the opposing guard stacks because Keontae he's just a fantasy spark plug, right? He gets up, he loves to shoot early in the shot clock, launches threes, pushes the pace, and depending where you look, maybe the worst point guard defender in the whole league. So I love this Keontae, Brandon Williams stack in particular. There's a lot of other Dallas guys you could go to. We'll see if PJ Washington's in there. If he's out, I think Najee Marshall becomes really interesting. And I do have interest in a $3,200 D'Lo. I think Hardy's a little bit interesting. And then Clay at 4,600. I think they're going to need a scoring. So I love Dallas here. And then, Utah looks good on the other side too. No Lauri Markkanen tonight. Can see Nurkic having a big game, but Keontae George is the one that I really want. Rubio, throw it over to you for Utah and Dallas.
This is where I love to be a nerd and be like, let's play guess the starting lineup for the Mavs. So PJ Washington, I don't know if they push him on a back-to-back. I really don't. I think that the tank is like inbound. I genuinely don't think PJ Washington plays, and this opens up the door even more, right? With PJ Washington questionable, who knows? I could be wrong already. There could be a report that he's going to be planning on playing. Jaden Hardy, Najee Marshall, right? Those would be the two guys probably locked in the start. If Gafford doesn't play, Dwight Powell, right? So you got three guys. Brandon Williams did great last night, 25 minutes after flag went down.
He's a baller, man. I like him.
Yeah, he's good. Fantasy spark plug. Then it kind of gets into you have Powell, you have Marshall, you have Hardy, you have Williams. Does Williams start alongside Hardy? I would hope so, but if not, then you're going to have to kind of roll the dice. Like Caleb Martin, does he start? He had 15-4-3-3 last night, and this is if PJ were to miss, right? So this could be like full-blown April 15th NBA hoops, right, where you're just playing four guys. And then someone asked, how many Mavs are too many tonight? I'm getting 4 over 70%. I think that's accurate because they're too cheap. Like your most expensive player on the Mavs has a chance to be Najee Marshall at 6,300, who has thrived in this role in the past. And DC,
Rubio, look who the Jazz play. I mean, Keontae plays a ton of minutes.
Yep.
Collier plays a lot of minutes. Clayton. So they play 3 point guards.
Yep.
Right, and then you've got Sensabaugh, who's just a rookie gunner. Not a good defender in the backcourt. Svi, who's like a stiff basically on defense. Ace Bailey, another rookie. So the Dallas can counter with all their guards too, right? If all those guys are out for Dallas, I think
I think something's wrong with D'Lo, and I think they have an unspoken thing where he gets traded on the first day that he's able to.
D'Lo,
DNP CD again last night, and he's not hurt, he's not anything, and he still had Nembhard only played 15 minutes last night. Brandon Williams only 25, Hardy 28. So like the backcourt minutes, I don't think are open. And Miles Kelly also played last night, where if people remember him, he's the shooter. What did he go? Auburn? Is that where he was at? Yeah, he was the Auburn kid who played over D'Lo. Like I don't know if they go with that. If they go with D'Lo tonight, and I'm just looking where that would be more of a case for Brandon Williams, where it's just like, how do you not bash him in if they're DNP CTing D'Lo? And
I don't even care if Williams comes off the bench at 4,800.
Oh yeah. He's the only guy. Honestly, Jaden Hardy, we love him because he's an absolute stud when he's 3K on fantasy, but he has not been getting the job done in his last couple starts.
He's like a one-dimensional scorer.
You're gonna love him tonight, though, right? Like you just gotta love him because, who's gonna score? And it's gonna be Hardy, it's gonna be Marshall, and then Caleb Martin's only 3,300. It's you're gonna be guessing on starters, but again, 3,500 for a starting center, like you're gonna be just soaking up minutes, and this is why the Phoenix guys, I don't really love for the most part, even though we like them to kind of start out the show. But like this game is the premier game. It's the game that you could be cashing and have 2 guys left, firmly cashing to start your night, and then 6:30 game or the 8:30 game comes and goes, and you're like DFL. I mean, you're just dead last if you don't have it, and it just nukes. Jazz side, Yusuf Nurkic. I think the Jazz should be fined millions of dollars, forfeit draft picks for everything that they're doing with the injury report, because it is just full blown like daring Adam Silver to do something. The Nurkic news last night. Granted, I benefited, right? And most of the people in Run Pure Sports benefited because, we put out that notification out. Nurkic is on the bench. You don't play a guy off the bench on Will Hardy's bench, right? Who should be starting, right? And Nurkic at 7,400. If he starts tonight, like you gotta love him. You gotta love Keontae too at 8,200. This is a Mavs team that might not have any rim protection, and again, this is the thing with them. If they're not going to have any talent, well, you also don't have your best defenders and PJ Washington, Anthony Davis. Gafford's just a big body too. Giving up 118 last night, 125 to Chicago. This is the same matchup that was 116, 114 with Davis and those guys in. The Jazz are going to put up a ton of points, and God forbid it's not through Bryce Sensabaugh tonight. I mean, did you see that game last night, DC? Did you see the Bryce?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to.
Oh, man. 58 for Sensabaugh. Man, I've played some Sensabaugh and have not been rewarded with a 58. I'll tell you.
I called him trash last night too. I ain't touching Bryce. 43.
Oh yeah, you hate Sensabaugh. You called him trash when we've been on the show too.
I said team of 5.
Are you walking it back? Are you walking it back?
I'm not walking it. 10 toes down. 10 toes down. Filipowski. A team of 5 Filipowskis beats a team of 5 Sensabaugh. But yeah, needless to say, the Bulls didn't have any interest in stopping him last night. I'm not going to chase that performance. I'm going to go right back to Keontae and Nurk. The Love projection is high, right at 4,500.
Before you go to Utah, what do you think about Klay Thompson? This feels like a Klay Thompson game to me. Jazz backcourt, bunch of rookies all scrambled up, game's running. He's out on the wing, probably breaking his threes. Goes 1 for 9. Gets 8 fantasy points. Sounds great, doesn't it?
That sounds like the true Klay experience now. If Klay doesn't start, I'm not playing him. And I just can't do it, man. Like that Klay, I played him a night he had a hot start.
It feels like a Klay game to me, Rubio. It does. Feels like a Klay game.
The game you described definitely feels nice, right? Like here, hold on. This is a good question from Arch Stanton. So in the game where Gafford missed, Powell played 35 minutes, 28 seconds, right? Cisse played 11:47. So they stayed big for the majority of the game. That was with Cooper Flag in. And that was the game that Klay had an 18-2, 1-1-1 in 27 minutes there, DC. That Brandon Williams was also out that game, though. Miles Kelly, again, played over D'Lo. Yeah, I think they stay big. But, again, they're just kind of out of front court bodies where, it's tough. I don't think defensively they're going to be able to stop. There's no way the Mavs are favored. No way. Do not tell me that's real.
They're favored by 3.5. Or so I got Basketball Monsters got it at 3.5.
I'm going right now to Poly Market, and I'm predicting the Jazz to win. I'm predicting the Jazz to win straight up, DC, even though they want to lose this game. Will Hardy will cuck us and say George and Nurkic are out again, and he's going to give Bryce Sensabaugh the green light.
You can't talk about Poly Market on this show. Rubio would hashtag DK partner. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm using DK predicts too. DraftKings predicts.
Wow.
Did you get in on that app? It's brand new, DC.
I haven't tested out DraftKings. Is it worth checking out?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Company man over there. What else? What else from this game? Did you finish on Utah? I think it's Keontae, the guy you want.
I'm going right back to Nurk. Everyone's going to be burned. Everyone's going to be like, oh, man, I'm not going back to Nurk. Will Hardy, but when Nurk starts, he's been an absolute monster for fantasy. And I think a lot of people have biases, and a lot of those biases might be I'm not going back to Nurkic, despite him being an even better play than last night. So Nurkic and Keontae being my main 2 guys for the Jazz.
All right. That is, all 5 games. Was Sensabaugh your anti-play of the day yesterday, Rubio?
We didn't do an anti-play, but he would have been. I mean, I would just call him out. Even if he wasn't on the slate, I'd be like, he's my least favorite play.
All right, Rubio. I got it sorted by ownership here. Which of these players do you want to shit on tonight? Who's going to bust and take down some chalk with him?
I see Klay Thompson's name there at the bottom. Now, that'd be cheating to go to Klay Thompson. There's no way, unless he started. Like, come on now. I'm going to go ahead and shit on Dylan Brooks. I'm going to do Dylan Brooks. My reasoning against Dylan Brooks, too, is if he's going to come into that high of ownership with him being the main focus as a scorer, it is great and all, right? Like, I've been high on Dylan Brooks. I think he's been my play of the day before on this show, DC, a Thursday night show. But my thing is, he's not going to get the job done through anything other than scoring, and I think scoring will become a little bit harder tonight. And, he had the game where he had a 27-7-5 against the Knicks, but, outside of that, he's really low on the peripherals where he's had 3, 6, 6, 10 and 12, and then 2 and 4. you're going to need a lot of rebounds and assists at that tag to kind of really pay it off, unless he's shooting 24 times. And even if he does that, he shot 24 times last game, DC. It was 1 for 10 from downtown. He only put up, 33 fantasy points. So I think he's a little bit of a lackluster play. I think as gross as I said the stars were, right, the studs, I think it's better to go stars and scrubs with SGA, Sengun, Wemby, for example, than a mid-tier Dylan Brooks at 6,300. I just think the upside, and if you catch that Rockets Thunder script on the right night, is going to outperform that mid-tier a bunch of times.
There you go. There you have it. Dylan Brooks, Rubio's fade of the day. I'm gonna join you on the fading the Suns train and go with Mr. Gillespie. Don't like this matchup for him. Don't like the spot for the Suns in general. I think Detroit takes care of business, and we see multiple Suns starters who will be very popular end up busting. So fading the Suns a little bit with Rubio. Now let's go to our favorite plays of the day. Rubio, who you got as the best play today?
All right. People are going to be, Mavs, Jazz. You're going to want 4 or 5 guys minimum from that game. So I'm not going to go someone from that game because, I think that's the easy route. Right? I don't want to do that.
I'll give you mine because I'm going one night game. I'm going with Klay Thompson. I'm glad you didn't choose him as your anti-play of the day. It's getting hot from 3. Klay throwback game tonight, Rubio. You heard it here first.
I like it. I'm going to go with Sengun. I think. And can I do a combo? Can I do SGA Sengun stack? Can I get that?
I'll allow it. I'll allow the SGA.
I want the stack. I want SGA Sengun. I want the game 1 opener of the season bloody brawl that we saw where Sengun pounded Chet in the paint. Absolutely just put up a massive stat line, and then SGA followed it with his foul baiting and more. It's great stuff. I think that's the game that puts you over the edge, has you looking nice early, and then the Jazz Mavs finish it out. And, you're just sitting there counting your money at the end of the night.
That's the goal. Hopefully, we'll all be counting money when it's all said and done. Appreciate everybody watching the NBA Hardwood show today. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our shows. We've got free content for every sport there is. For members, I'll be back with JSU on the normal Friday night time tomorrow. But that'll do it. Appreciate everybody watching. Hit the like on your way out if you haven't yet done so. For Rubio Dimes, I'm Draft Sheet. We're out of here.